The Mystery Mittens, written by Qoutewithhope and read by Eleanor Elizabeth. Summary. Shinsou wants to help Izuku out, so he knits him a pair of mittens and leaves them for him to find as a gift from an anonymous person because he's bad at confrontation. With the chill of the winter air upon them, students at UA bundled up to block out the freezing air. Practically every student wore at least some form of protection: insulated hats, long thick scarves, big puffy jackets, or just a simple pair of gloves. With the winter break around the corner, teachers were much less strict on the dress code. Or maybe it was the fact that they were freezing too, allowing students to cover up their proper uniforms with much more insulated material. Heights Alliance dorms were constantly filled with holiday cheer. You could always walk into the smell of cinnamon or chocolate, other students commenting on how you could see their tree lights from across the school. Even in class, you could feel the slight rise in, already high, joy, see a few more smiles than usual, hear the jingling of some red and green earrings that no one had the heart to confiscate. While yes, Izuku loved this season, he loved seeing his friends and peers in a cheerful mood while playing in the snow or watching as they sang off-key carols while baking. It was his body that hated it. Breaking your body constantly has its consequences. The consequences being crooked fingers, aching joints, and telling it exactly when a day was going to be bad news. Now he's tried everything from heating pads in his gloves — it took way too much pain and effort just to get them in the gloves — and even asking Todoroki to shed some heat on his hands. He didn't have the confidence to ask him to do it again, and didn't think Todoroki would sit with him for all of class. But nothing has been able to fix the clamminess that is his hands, so he's just been living with it. On cold days, he'd ask someone if he could borrow notes. During lunch, he'd sit there and talk, acting like he'd forgotten about his lunch, and staying in the middle of a group so he wouldn't have to try and grab the handle. No one seemed to have a problem with his weird behaviour, but everyone did take notice of it. One of which was the newest student of Class 1A, Shinsou Hitoshi, a person who most wouldn't try to befriend. Well, unless you're the resident broccoli, of course. He'd been the only person who was purely open to being friends with him, looking past his quirk and all of the villainous stereotypes that had been laid on him. He'd see the way the other boys' hands would shiver and shake, how he would wince when waving. He wanted to help Izuku, he really did, but combining his lack of emotional understanding and a feeling he couldn't quite understand yet, he was left to ponder what to do. While sitting at the breakfast table one weekend morning, it was clear to his family that the purple-haired teen was a little lost in thought, considering the fact that he was drinking syrup and pouring coffee onto his freshly made pancakes. "Hey, little listener, this some new trend going around?" Yamada asked, serving Eri her own pancakes to enjoy. Just as the sickeningly sweet syrup touched his tongue, he realized just what he was doing. Ugh! With a quick swipe of a napkin, he ridded himself of the mistake. "What's going on with you, kid? Even in training, you've been distracted." Aizawa took the pot from the poor boy's hands, pouring his own cup of the dark liquid. "Hitone is trying to think of a gift," Eri spouts through a mouthful of pancakes, earning a cringe from the adults and a playful glare from the teen. "Oh, really? You should have come to us, Ito. We're great at gift-giving," Yamada said as Aizawa scolded Eri about talking with her mouth full. "You're good at gift-giving. The best you'll get out of me is a gift card or a cat plush," he grumbled, taking a sip from his mug. "Go show! Don't lie! You've always been good at presents. But Hitoshi, what kind of gift are you thinking of?" The blonde swung an exasperated arm around his son's neck. "Something general? Or maybe a gag gift? I know some amazing prank shops." "No, Pops, it's not like that." "Are they into cats? I know some perfect hoodies on Congo." "I don't really want to buy him something." "Ah, something more personal, eh? What about—" "Yamada." Both turned to look Aizawa's way, one with a look of nervousness and another of pure enthusiasm. "Why don't you let him speak for a minute? It'll be easier for all of us than playing this little guessing game of yours," he said with a deadpan stare at his husband. Rising up from around his son's neck, he clasped his hands together with a smile. "Great idea, Sho! So, what do you want in this gift?" Suddenly, all attention was on him. Well, I want it to be nice." Kami, he was bad at this. "Well, now that you want it to be nice, it's a gift," Eri chimed in. now finished with her pancakes and eggs. I want it to be helpful to him. Like, something that can fix a problem he has. I was thinking a pair of gloves, but he couldn't really use those. Hitoshi remembers Izuku talking with him about how gloves actually harm his hands more instead of helping him. What about mittens then? Aizawa suggested. Mittens? Hito can't give him our cat. Think how lonely Bastard will be, Eri said, pointing at the two cats with a worried pout. Oh no, hun, he doesn't mean the cat. Mittens are like gloves, but without the fingers, Yamada assured his daughter, gently waving his hands in front of him. I would, but not many shops sell mittens anymore, and if they do, they're always sold out. This was the roadblock. He had an idea, but he couldn't exactly put it into action. After a moment of silence, the Lao Pro hero came up with a solution. I could teach you, he said with a palm to his fist. This took his husband. You know how to knit? Aizawa asked, looking at him with much more awake eyes. Well, yeah, I do. Who do you think made you all that cat merch back in high school? I don't know. Some store. You really think that any store would have had that much cat merch? While Aizawa attempted to think on that, Hisashi went on about all the things he could teach Hitoshi, and Eri, if she wanted, to make. And so, with Aizawa as their witness, Hisashi spent the day teaching his kids the basics of knitting, each of them ending with a pair of mittens and the start of a beanie. So, are you going to give your mittens to your special person? Eri asked while she played with the cats using leftover yarn. Yeah, I will. Tomorrow, maybe? Even though he knew it was a lie, he could hardly ask questions without the constant urge to run in the opposite direction. Then to add giving a handmade gift that could potentially be taken in the wrong way and make things really awkward with his first friend? Yeah, he's going to need some time to think this through. Once Monday came around, Hitoshi had the most perfect 1A proof plan he could think of during his insomnia and coffee-induced mind melts. It was quite simple, really. Just leave the mittens in front of his door. His own dorm was right next to Izuku's, so he'd just leave them there for him to find. Wrapping them up in tissue paper, he placed them along with a simple note in a pastel green bag with small cat paws on it, and a red bow that he had his dad tie to bring it all together. He waited with bated breath until he knew that dinner was called. So far, after a bit of talking to himself in the mirror, and taking several helpings of espresso confidence, he walked over, setting the bag against the door, and quickly walking back to his dorm, gently slamming the door in the process. Mission completed. While Hitoshi was too caught up in setting the gift up perfectly against Izuku's door, he didn't notice the teen of the hour stepping off the elevator. He had traded out dinner for a granola bar, because he didn't have the guts to tell Mina and Sero to not use the only forks and knives. After watching his friends sneakily walk over to his own room, he stepped closer, inspecting the bag. His eyes still lingering on his neighbour's door, Izuku pulled out a neatly wrapped bundle with a sticky note on top of it. Looked like you needed these. Can't have you freezing on me, La Parade. Chiroptera. With shaky yet gentle hands, he began to undo the flimsy paper to find two soft, multicoloured mittens. They fit perfectly to cover his broken and scarred hands. It felt so nice. The sweet, comforting warmth was welcomed with open arms, or open hands in this case. If Izuku cried from relief in front of his door for a few minutes, no one would know but his insomniac of a neighbour and Nezu. And if Hitoshi found a cat-shaped coffee mug outside of his door a few days later, who knows who could have gotten him such a nice gift. Hey there guys, gals and non-binary pals, I hope you are all having a lovely day today. This fic was so cute. I love Shindeku, it's a great time. And it's the second fic in our Christmas countdown. I'm very excited about it, but I am debating whether or not I should put up one tomorrow, or whether or not being on live stream kind of counts. If not, I've got to record it tonight, because I'm going to be in Scotland all day tomorrow. So, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, or tell me about the fic, or how you're doing today. Are you feeling Christmassy yet? Has the vibes kicked in? You could also like the video, if you liked it, and to boost my serotonin levels. And you could also subscribe if you want to be notified whenever I make new videos, like, every day, because we're doing a Christmas countdown. Also, the votes were in, I guess it's called Ficmas. And a little reminder, the last one, I guess, of tomorrow's live stream, which will be, tomorrow, Saturday the 3rd of December at 11 p.m. GMT, which, for all you Americans out there listening to me, is 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, and 3 p.m. Pacific. Honestly, I feel like I'm going to kind of miss saying that. It has a nice flow to it. But hopefully I'll see you all there tomorrow. But until I see you again, be sure to practice some self-care. Go to bed on time. Brush your teeth. Drink some water. Make sure you have dinner. I'm going to go have dinner now, and it's going to be great. So you better eat your square meals too, okay? Because this is a threat. I will catch you guys later.